Hi guys, if you have been following my channel, you might know that I bought a Sony ZV-E10 camera and Sigma 60mm lens about 2 months ago, and about 2 weeks ago I got my second lens. It's the Sony 18-105mm lens. Before I bought these lenses, I did tons of research. So in this video, I want to share with you some of the lenses that I have been considering, so you can decide which is the best lens to go with Sony ZV-E10 or any other Sony E-mount cameras. I will start with wide-angle lens, and then standard lens, portrait lens, telephoto lens, and finally the all-around lens that covers a very wide range of focal length. I'll talk about their pros and cons, weight, and price. At the end of each category, I will share with you which lens I recommend the most. Before we start, keep in mind that when you're using an APS-C camera, you need to multiply the focal length printed on the lens by 1.5. Now let's get started. For wide-angle lens from 14 to 35mm, first we have Tamron 11-20mm f2.8. It was released in June 2021, so it's a rather new lens. One of the most impressive features is the minimum object distance. It's only 5.9 inches at the widest end, which allows you to get super close to an object. However, at $829, it's a little bit pricey.
Tamron understands the need for versatility when it comes to choosing the right lens for traveling. That's why we developed the fast wide-angle B060 and standard B070 zooms for Sony E-mount mirrorless cameras. Lightweight, compact, and ready for any adventure. Tamron.
The next lens is Sony 10-18mm f4. It has in-body stabilization, it's super lightweight. Combined with its wide angle, it is a perfect vlogging lens. It's a rather old lens, so if you don't have a lot of budget, I would suggest buying a second-hand one. That would save you a lot of money. The downside of this lens is that the aperture is only f4, so it doesn't perform as well as other lenses in low-light environment. Next on the list is Samyang 12mm f2. The older version of this lens was released in 2014, and 7 years after, in 2021, a newer version came out. The biggest feature? It has autofocus. The autofocus is fast and silent. You won't see it hunting. It's very small and lightweight, so you can carry it everywhere easily. At the price of $345, it's a great value. The next lens is Sigma 60mm f1.4. I've made a video about this lens, so if you want to know more, click the link up there. Sigma 60mm is known to be super sharp. The autofocus performance is great. Most importantly, the f1.4 allows you to take photos and videos in low light environment. At a price of $369, it's a great value. The downside of this lens is that for a wide-angle lens, 60mm might not be wide enough for some people. The final lens on this wide-angle list is Lowa 9mm f2.8. This lens is really wide, so it's perfect for real estate, architecture photography, and of course landscape photography. This lens is known as 0D, which stands for zero distortion, so you don't have to correct the geometry during the post-editing. At 212 grams, it's very lightweight, so it's travel-friendly. Overall, if you have more budget, I would recommend Tamron 11 to 20mm, or if you want to shoot super wide, the one 9mm is the choice. And if you only want it to be a little bit wide, then Sigma 60mm is what I would choose. For standard lens, I'm talking about roughly 35 to 75mm. You can use this kind of lens in most situations, like travel, street photography, and sometimes portrait. The first lens I want to talk about in this category is Sigma 18 to 50mm f2.8. It's a pretty new lens, released in October 2021. It weighs 290 grams. It's very tiny and light, especially for a zoom lens of this range. And very importantly, you can take sharp images with this lens. The price is $509 US. It's not the most budget one in this list, but definitely good value for the quality lens like this. Next is Sigma 30mm f1.4. Again, Sigma lenses are known to be super sharp. Another plus of this lens is the large aperture of f1.4, so you can take photos and videos in low light environment and create nice bokehs. Finally, it's Sony 35mm f1.8 OSS. It's also a very compact lens, weighing only 155 grams. What sets this lens apart from other lenses in this list is the built-in stabilization feature. However, the image quality might not be as sharp as when you use Sigma lenses. If you look at this table, you can see that most features of these three lenses are quite similar. They are all very lightweight, very small. They all allow you to take sharp photos. The apertures are pretty large. The differences lie in price, stabilization, and focal length. If you want more flexibility, go for Sigma 18 to 50mm because it's a zoom lens. If you want to take more videos and you don't use a gimbal, Sony's 35mm f1.8 might be more helpful. In the next category, we're going to cover the focal length of 85 to 135mm portrait lens, or some might call it short telephoto lens. First on the list is Sigma 56mm f1.4. This is the most well-known and generally recognized best portrait lens. It has smooth and quiet autofocus, which makes it ideal for video shooting. It has the large aperture of f1.4, so it performs exceptionally well in low light settings and allows you to create clear and beautiful bokehs. Next on the list is Sony 50mm f1.8 OSS. It's very small and light as well, so it's easy to carry. Another plus is that it has built-in stabilization, and it's also less expensive than Sigma lens, at only $323 US, but it's not as sharp. Last on the list is Sony 85mm f1.8. It's a full-frame lens, but you can use it on an APSC camera. It's also very compact and lightweight. At f1.8, you can have nice bokehs. In the portrait lens category, I think I can safely say that Sigma 56mm f1.4 is the best. The only shortcoming of this lens is probably the lack of stabilization. Next category, telephoto lens. We're going to cover the focal length of more than 135mm. Usually this kind of lens is used for sport and wildlife photography. First on the list is Sony 55 to 210mm f4.5 to 6.3. Weighing only 345 grams, it's a compact zoom lens compared to other telephoto lenses. The built-in stabilization makes it ideal for sports or nature photography and video shooting. Another plus is the price. It's significantly less expensive than other lenses on this list. So if budget is a problem, this is the lens for you. If you have more budget, I would suggest the next lens, Sony 70 to 350mm f4.5 to 6.3. It's 3 times more expensive and twice heavier, but it takes sharper photos. The final lens on the list is Tamron 150 to 500mm f5 to 6.7. It's a lens for professional wildlife photography, so unless you have this really specific purpose, I wouldn't recommend it. And finally, we have come to our last category, the all-purpose lens. The focal length in this category ranges a lot, so if you hate changing lenses or you only want to buy one lens for shooting everything, this is the right category for you. On this list, we have Tamron 17 to 70mm f2.8, Tamron 18 to 300mm f3.5 to 6.3, and Sony 18 to 105mm f4. They all take sharp photos. They all have stabilization and fast autofocus. The differences lie in aperture and zoom range. Tamron 17 to 70mm has the constant aperture of f2.8, so you don't have to worry about light changing all the time as you zoom in or zoom out. It also performs well in low light environment. On the other hand, Tamron 18 to 300mm might not have the same large aperture. It is the all-purpose lens among the all-purpose lens. The 18 to 300mm zoom range allows you to shoot basically everything. Another plus is the minimum object distance of 5.9 inches at 18mm ends, which allows you to shoot close-ups. Last on the list is Sony 18 to 105mm f4. I've made a pros and cons video about it. The link is on the top. Check it out if you're interested. It's the lightest and the least expensive one among 3 of these lenses. The focal length of 18 to 105mm is pretty much enough to cover everyday life. The internal zoom allows you to maintain the same lens size. This is extremely helpful if you're using a gimbal. And the power zoom allows you to maintain the same zoom speed when shooting a video. So this lens performs really well for vlogging. Overall, I would say it really depends on what you value the most. If you care a lot about quality and you have a higher budget, go for Tamron 17 to 70 millimeters. But if versatility is more important to you, I would recommend Tamron 18 to 300 millimeters or Sony 18 to 105 millimeters, depending on how much you want to zoom in. So this is today's video. So far, you should have a general understanding of which lens is more suitable for you. All of the product links are down in the description box. But before you buy anything, I would suggest searching for that specific lens on the internet, know more about it, and then make your decision. I hope you find this video helpful. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and I'll see you next time. Bye!